Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at pitching for today, the 9th of July. It is Wednesday. We do have a three game day slate, which is dumb because unless I missed something, DraftKings just skipped over the 2:45 Central start time game and didn't include it on the slate, which has the best pitcher option. But then we have an 11-game main slate this evening. There is some weather concerns. Baltimore, New York. Maybe a little bit Boston, Cincinnati, but Baltimore being the main one. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I would cut my pitcher pool in half. Pricing isn't as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get the stacks you want with the upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that said and done, let's just take a look. We mentioned the weather. Rain, Baltimore, potentially New York, not a big deal, but that Baltimore game, obviously worrisome depending on when it's going to show up. Windy day in Chicago for the White Sox, very interesting. Definitely going to like some bats in that game, but aside from that, not a lot of weather spots or like wind spots that are going to help hitters. Blowing in Minnesota, which is a little annoying because the Cubs are there. Out in Kansas City, but not very strong, and that's park's obviously a pitcher's park in general. So let's just take a look at the matchups themselves. This three-gamer, kind of break down real quick. Glasnow looked terrible in his rehab starts. Should be lengthened out enough pitch-wise to be a 5 to 6 inning guy. Probably more likely a 5, given how safe the Dodgers like to play things. Not the greatest of matchups, but Milwaukee doesn't have a great history against him as far as their roster. But he is volatile enough. He obviously has the clear ceiling advantage over the rest of the pitchers on the slate. But will he be allowed to get there? I'm not sure. Olsen takes on a Tampa Bay lineup that's starting to struggle a little bit, and they have kind of struggled away from home much of the season. So Reese Olsen's certainly in play. And it's not one I feel great about, but he's probably my second favorite option on the slate. And that's saying a lot, considering it's just not great. He has been pretty strong at home, which is great to see. The other side, Littell, going to be in my pool just because there can be some strikeouts in the Detroit lineup. The issue that I have with playing Littell is the fact that he's allowed 24 home runs. It's a lot of home runs to allow. And ironically, 16 of them have come on the road, which is really weird to see. He's allowing a home run every 3.8 innings. So around 2.5 per 9. It's a pretty extreme number. I would have guessed that comes down as the season progresses at some point, but still, that's an alarming number. It's tough to not like the Detroit bats for home run hunting. Hauser, I'm not going to get there. I am going to play Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer is probably going to be my main SP on this gross three-gamer since we don't have access to Luzardo. He's just taking on the White Sox. We do know the White Sox haven't really been striking out as much, but still, I think Lauer is the one guy that we want to play. And then mix a match with Olsen, Glasnow, and Littell. Quintana, just not going to get there. I'm going to hope that the Dodger bats wake up just a little bit, and he's just not an optimal pitcher on the slate. Let's slide over to the main slate. We get the Mets, Baltimore with the rain issues. I do have some interest in David Peterson if the rain holds off or we get some good news on timing, etc. Just because the Baltimore lineup can struggle quite a bit. And being left-handed helps in his matchup against Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, O'Hearn, Mullins. Just weakens that overall lineup. So I am definitely interested in Peterson should we get the okay from the weather. Shigano just not going to make my pool this evening. Seattle, New York. Going to end up passing on pitching in this game. Not really going to take Logan Evans against the Yankees. I don't really expect a 25 fantasy point performance like he had against Washington. I kind of expect some home runs to be hit. Schlittler, sorry. Honestly, a guy I don't know a ton about. But he's kind of been solid for the Yankees, and he's racked up strikeouts in the minors. So that's an interesting spot. I'm just not sure what to do. I'm intrigued, by the upside for sure. But I do worry about his walk number. Right around 3 per 9 innings, which we would expect that to kind of go up a little bit at the major league level. Home runs could be an issue in this ballpark. I'd have to dig into his minor league profile a little bit more. But he's at least somebody who I'm considering, because on the slate, there isn't a ton that I feel like I have to play. So I think Schlittler is a guy that might be somebody we want to sprinkle in the more that I look at it. Boston, Colorado, we are going to go to Giolito, a guy that we've been stacking against quite a bit. Basically 22 plus fantasy points in 4 out of his last 5 starts. He's throwing the ball really well, but he has struggled when pitching in Fenway, so that is a worry. But he's taken on Colorado. Obviously a team that we're glad to take pitching against. So I am just going to play Giolito and expect him to give up 6 runs in 3 innings. Basically, is how I feel about that. Cincinnati and the Marlins. Wind slightly blown in, 20% chance of rain or delay. Abbott's intriguing to me coming off of a horrendous start. I think he's probably a pretty good bounce back spot for him. He's actually been pretty solid at home. Walk rate jumps up. K rate's a little worse, but still. He's had a pretty solid year. I think his underlying numbers scream some sort of regression coming, and it definitely could happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen in the start. Could be more of a second half thing. So I am definitely going to utilize Abbott on this slate, just because I'll keep picking on the Marlins with pitching as much as possible, as long as it makes sense. 4.5 K prop, juice on the over. Seems a little low, to be honest. The other side, Alcantara, 4.5 is his K prop with juice on the over as well. We know the type of upside he offers when things kind of come together. The problem is things just haven't really come together this season. His one start over 17 fantasy points, and it came nearly a month ago against what at the time was the worst offense in baseball. It's been over 6 Ks just twice. So somebody I'm just going to have to debate a little bit more. Like, I understand it just because Cincinnati can strike out, but this ballpark isn't the best. Especially if he has some walks, home run happens, like it very quickly can go from 0 earned to 3 earned for Alcantara in this ballpark. He's kind of going to be in my debate. It might either just come down to Alcantara or even Schlittler. They're basically at the same price point. I wouldn't be shocked if my debate comes down to that. And I might go with the rookie and take the chance just because Alcantara just hasn't looked good. Minnesota, Chicago. Going to pass on pitching here. Even though Festa does intrigue me a little bit, it's still the Cubs. They let us down yesterday. I think I want to go back to the Cubs bats a little bit more. Pitt, Kansas City. Bailey Falter is a guy that can surprise, but he's coming off a game where he gave up 3 home runs. Like, there's just a lot that I don't need to rely on Falter, especially because Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. Going to Bubic, who hasn't, put up a big start in over a month. A couple of 20s in there, which wasn't bad. He hasn't been clean, which is a worry. But he is taking on a Pitt offense that has struggled enough against left-handed pitching that I will gladly use Bubic, even at 10K at this point. Washington, St. Louis, not really going to play Payante, even though it wouldn't shock me if he put up a 20-ish fantasy point performance. He was very strong against Washington the first time he faced them. 28 fantasy points. That is pretty strong. But he's been worse at home. He's just not a K guy. 22 strikeouts and 42 1/3 home innings. It's just a number that doesn't intrigue me at all. So I'm going to pass on Payante. Probably going to use Mackenzie Gore. He did struggle against St. Louis first time. Put up 16 fantasy points. Strikeouts were there in that matchup. Strikeouts have kind of come down since that, and the walks have been up recently over his last 3 starts. Did get a couple extra days of rest, which I'd like to see. I'm going to sprinkle in Mackenzie Gore just because he has such extreme upside, but he's not somebody that I want to go super overweight on. We're going to refresh our DS here. I'm not sure if we're going to have ownership numbers yet for the main slate, but let's take a look and see. We actually do. Yeah, Mackenzie Gore at just 7.5%. Definitely a spot I like then. If he would have came in at 25% or whatever on the slate, I probably would have went underweight. But at 7%, I can double the field and feel all right about it. At the 15-16% range, just because he has the upside that we look for GPP purposes. Cleveland, Houston, probably gonna pass. Cleveland annoyed me getting to Hunter Brown last night. Walter has had a couple strong starts, but then he went into Colorado, got lit up. I mean, it is Colorado, but still. I'm just going to pass on him and just hope that it doesn't beat me tonight. 8,700 is a hefty price tag to pay for him. Sassoni, I want to dig into his numbers a little bit more against right-handed bats. I'm at least intrigued enough to consider him. Kind of in the pool with Alcantara. Probably put him ahead of Alcantara until I dig in. But he's at least a guy that I want to learn more about the matchup. Texas and the Angels. Just don't think I can go to Kumar Rocker. I realize the Angels strike out a ton. His best start of the year came against the Angels. But man, is it tough trying to rely on him. He's been atrocious on the road. Ridiculously bad. Did strike out 8 in that first start with the Angels. Man, right now I'm going to assume that he's just not going to make my pool. He's just a guy that I don't like. But if that Angels lineup is weaker than predicted, or I dig in and I see some numbers that make sense, I could see myself changing my mind on him. But for right now, I'm going to assume that Kumar Rocker is not going to be in my pool. Arizona, San Diego. I'm going to get on the Dylan Cease train just because he has the extreme upside, and that's what we're looking for GPPs, especially large field stuff. And he's been phenomenal at home. It's the road that he's had some big-time struggles. K rate is super strong. I'm going to rely on him. Understand that it is a little more volatile than you like to see, from a stud pitcher. But K-prop is 6.5. Juice is on the under, but still 6.5. That's tied with Bubic and Giolito at the highest number. And based on the odds, it looks like he's the most likely to get to 7 strikeouts. So, going to have to use Cease. The other side, Brandon Pfaadt, just not somebody I'm interested in this evening against a team that doesn't strike out. He's been atrocious on the road. And then the last game, zero interest in pitching in the Atlanta A's game. I would expect some more home runs to be hit in that ballpark this evening. So there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And don't forget about our merch store as well. Links will be in the description for that. Best of luck, everybody.